I know I want to invade, right? I already know that. Look at their jungler. He's almost level 6. Look at our jungler. He is almost level 6. So at this stage, the junglers are even on experience, right? Our jungler is level 8.5. Have a look at the enemy jungler. He's level not even 6.5. So about a minute ago, they were dead even on experience. Now our jungler is 2 levels ahead. Guys, you will win more of your games if you invade the enemy farm early. Now, there's a couple of ways to successfully do this. Number one is you need to be using a Pokemon that is strong early. You want to use something that will do decent in a 1v1 battle. So that might be a healer that can sustain from a range like a Hooper or an Eldegoss. Or that might be your typical brawler that is very, very good early like an Azumarill or a Zacian, something along those angles, right? Now, I'm playing Azumarill in this game and your goal is to hit level 4 as soon as possible. And you're going to get that extra experience when you're scoring, right? Now, the enemy team at this point, they're taking on our Eevee, which I don't think is the correct play because they're letting me get online for free here, which is definitely not a great idea for them, right? So now at this point, I'm 3 stacks in and I'm level 4.5, which is very, very good for 9 minutes 20. And our Eevee's actually done such a good job of just pestering the enemy team and stalling, right? Because at this stage, by stalling, what we're able to do here is we're actually able to punish their team, right? Now, I was holding B there. I don't know why I was hitting a farm. Maybe it was just out of range. It's a little bit of a misplay from me there, right? Even though I knew what I was intentionally trying to do. And so at this stage, right, in my head, this is when you know you should be invading, right? You want to play to your odds. Now, the way that I'm looking at this going, my bottom lane is going phenomenally, right? Absolutely amazing. I can see my team is on their goal zone. I haven't panned down yet, but generally if your team is like all 3 of them are on their goal zone, your bottom lane's going very well. And their jungler's up in the top lane. So you want to maximize the amount of value that your bottom lane's going to get by making sure that you don't die and get super steamrolled in the top lane. Now, the way that you would get steamrolled in the top lane is by dying, right? That'd be pretty bad. So at this stage, I know that I'm probably not going to be getting many of the bees here, right? So the bees aren't really on my mind. On my mind is making sure, okay, our jungler is actually looking like he's pretty much going to be ahead. I want to slow down the enemy jungler as much as I possibly can, right? And the best way to do that is to just invade because it buys time. And even if you don't steal their buff, you've slowed them down so they're not going to be ready for that 8-minute farm, right? So as you can see, our Eevee's trying to get the evolution on the back Baltoy, which is totally fine. We weren't really going to get much out of that because of 3v2, and I knew that, so I wanted to play safe, staying well on my side of the map. And then the path, I know I want to invade, right? I already know that. Look at their jungler. He's almost level 6. Look at our jungler. He is almost level 6. So at this stage, the junglers are even on experience, right? It's better for our team though, because our team managed to kill them and get a whole bunch of score. So our bottom lane is going to be very successful, and there's still a whole bunch of farm in this bottom lane. So they're doing very, very good here. All I want to do is I want to slow down their team as much as possible. So I'm going to invade. I'm going to go down this path and go through here. And ideally, I'm looking to fight their jungler because I'm using a Azumarill. He's very, very good. So we're both level 5, right? And he sees me in the middle here, and I'm just trying to dodge some of his skills. Now that he's used his skills, I'm going to engage on him. And even though I've kind of done that pretty poorly by making sure that I've hit the farm and the Charmeleon, so I didn't actually get the crit, right? It's worked out because Azumarill's very, very good early, right? So at that stage, you know he's going to be respawning and coming back to this mid, so you want to be taking as much of his farm as possible, right? Notice how I'm not running deep into his jungle, right? When you go for this invade, make sure that you're positioning yourself in a way that you're going to be able to escape, right? So your escape is up through here or through this kind of passageway into the raid pit there, right? Stay in open spaces, right? You'd only ever go this deep if you had your team with you, right? So you notice that I'm kind of pinging, I'm saying like, you know, woohoo, you can do it, you know, we're doing a very good job here, right? And then at this second buff here, I'm not necessarily interested in contesting this Charmeleon for the buff, because if we both attack the buff, it's going to be killed a lot quicker than what it normally would be. So in my head, all I'm thinking of here is I want to try and put the Charmeleon in a position where he's used his skills, and then I'm going to dive on him. Or the other alternative is he uses his skills on the buff to try and weaken it, and then I take it with my skills, right? That's pretty much what I'm trying to do. Now notice here, the jungler is he's like 6.25. Our jungler is almost 7.5. So literally 40 seconds ago, they were even on experience. Now our jungler is well ahead, right? He's actually over a level ahead, which is fantastic for our team, right? So that's the goal I've done there. All I was trying to do was slow him down. And then I noticed he's used his flamethrower, and then I try and hit the buff to try and, you know, push a bit of urgency, and then I dive on the enemy jungler there, right? And then we get another kill, which is fantastic. Their Hooper comes up. Honestly, guys, if you're getting invaded, you need to support your team. So the Hooper comes up maybe, you know, a little bit too late, because I think he's got portals and everything, and I was quite fortunate to get that. So while all of this was happening, guess who's mowed up all of the middle Bs? Our jungler, right? So at this stage, our jungler is level 8.5. Have a look at the enemy jungler. He's level not even 6.5. So about a minute ago, they were dead even on experience. Now our jungler is 2 levels ahead. Admittedly, our jungler is playing very well and doing his rotations phenomenally. You can enhance that and win harder earlier by getting your invasions done correctly. Now that this invasion's done, either it'll get done at about 8 minutes, you join the beast and you go back to your lane, or this stage, I've noticed that there's no more bees here. I've noticed that there's actually no farm up in this top lane, and our Umbreon seems to be doing pretty good against these 2 people here. So I'm going to try and work with our team. I can notice that our Dragapult's running down, so I'm actually just kind of following him. I'm just pocketing him. Because wherever they go, I just want to make sure that I'm doing some follow-up damage with them so they can get the maximum value out of that as possible, right? Here's a big 30 score in, and then I try and get a 26 score in here. You know, we probably could have not broken in this case here, but I just figured that we're in such a position to be able to steamroll now that we're just killing their team all the way up to their 2nd tier. And I get this score here to get my Unite move online, and have a look at the level difference, guys. Now it's 7 minutes 20. The lane Bs haven't even come up yet. And have a look at the level difference. I'm level 8, our jungler's level 9. We both have Unite moves, so that's a huge resource. Their jungle is still level 6. Their jungle is still level 6. And guys, the beauty of when you invade, I am now going to be able to, like, the yellow dots for their farm will come up for me when it respawns, right? So that's another reason why invading's good, because you actually are able to tell on your map when the enemy farm comes back. So now I know that it's here because the yellow dot, it comes back for me on my screen, which is good. Now I'm going to pause here. This is another thing that I see honestly, a lot of solo queue players get this wrong, is that we already know that none of their team is going to be here, right? We've just cleared this, we've scored, we've pushed them way back, right? So the chances of someone on their team running down this lane and out securing 3 of our teammates here is very, very low. So the most correct thing for our Dragapult to be doing here is look at the farm that's available for him, right? He's got this this blue buff here in the enemy jungle. And then, so pretty much, this is the mistake I see a lot of people do. The Dragapult normally, in my normal solo queue lobby, would run down and take this objective. In the meantime, the enemy team has recognized that this objective is off the table for them, so they steamroll up in our top lane. And that leaves this poor Umbreon to be, you know, playing by himself for even longer, and then he'll be even more frustrated because this is at this stage, we've for sure got this objective because that rotation that the Dragapult and I did down in that bottom lane to join our supporter and other attacker. So at this stage, it's most correct for us 3 here to go take this objective and then rotate up to the top lane. In the meantime, our jungler can keep suffocating the enemy experience, not allowing them to get any catch-up experience, and then he can rotate and support our Umbreon in the top lane, right? And that's actually what happens, that is a sign of someone who's actually really good at the game, to be honest, right? And honestly, from this point on, I've provided our jungler a lead, right? An experienced lead. And since he's such a good player, he's able to just maintain this lead, which is fantastic, right? He's maintained the lead. He's got levels over the enemy jungler. He's got levels over everyone. And even, by the time the enemy team can come down here and do anything, we've already taken this objective. And our Dragapult is now up and punishing this top lane if they try and engage on our Umbreon there, which is probably the play that they should be making. Right, so that's the first 3 minutes of the game. We're just going to pause and have a look at how much value that our team is able to get, right? Their team has a total levels of 35, right? 35. Our team has a total levels of 40, right? So we've got, on average, everyone is a level above the enemy team, right? Which is absolutely fantastic, right? So I'm just gonna like double speed through this game for a little bit, because it's, to be honest, it's a little bit boring, right? All we're doing is we're rotating up to the top lane. We're engaging on the enemy. We're working together as a unit. I can recognize that the Dragapult is sticking with the Clefable, and so I'm pretty much making sure that I'm sticking with them, right? Now at this stage, we dove on their tier 1, knowing that we've got the resources like the Unite moves and everything. We want to try and get as much score into the enemy goal zone as possible. So the way that we do that is we break this here, and they've still got a minute to get their jump pad to go up to this tier 2. And we want to walk this initial Reggie in, right? So far, the game is definitely in our favor. We've got the both objectives, and now we've got the resources to be able to push this in. The enemy at this stage, we know that they've only got 2 Unite moves to defend this. We also have Dragapult. Look at the positioning, by the way, of the Dragapult. If you're playing this carry character, notice how he's attacking from side on. He's not attacking from head on. Because if he attacks from head on, he's going to be collided against the enemy's skills. If he goes side on, they're going to have to turn and point their skills towards him. So it's very, very smart play. Notice that's actually what I'm trying to do here, is go side on, hoping that they're going head on with our Clefable. So our team's positioning is actually fantastic. Maybe the Umbreon could possibly be with the Clefable in that case there. Now, we know we're up for a bit of a fight here, but pretty much, honestly, the enemy team probably could have defended this if their Venusaur had have actually joined and helped them here, right? But as you're going to see, their Charizard launches his Unite move, and I'm just spamming my skills onto him, and our Dragapult's actually spamming his auto, so he dies relatively quickly. And now we're in a position where, their Blastoise is forced to use his Unite move. Some of us are getting pretty low here, right? That's actually a really good Unite move. He's caught, almost all of us there, but we don't back out. You can see I'm kind of floating around here. I want to make sure that I'm not giving up the experience there. So they've used quite a bit of resource on myself and our defender and our Clefable there. But notice our Dragapult is still going in. He's getting huge autos off. He's getting crazy value while our Gengar is actually able to sweep in. And then we get that score in there and we completely break the top tier 1 and we get like a 300 score advantage. Guys, at this stage in the game, it's pretty much impossible for the other team to come back, right? So notice at this stage, everyone just backs out. Because look at all the farm on the map. There's no point us playing super risky to try and get this blue buff and then the enemy getting a bit of catch-up experience. We want to only let them have this farm here. So our team collectively goes, here's some Bs, and then defend this goal zone. Right, and that's pretty much what happens here. Right? I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. We take Bs, and well, there's actually enemy Bs in the bottom lane as well, which we get our hands on there. And to be honest, I'm probably the most out of position here. I'm actually late to this fight. I should have been there with my team a little bit earlier. And now at this stage, they've got their jump pad. We're honestly just trying to make them panic and throw some resources at our team. Because this objective is down here. If we can get them to blow their resources up on the second tier and escape, then there's a good chance we're going to be able to win this objective here. Right, so that's kind of what's happening here, right? The Delphox uses his Unite move, the Venusaur uses his Unite move. Everyone's actually still alive at this stage, and the Dragapult's actually still picking up some kills, which is absolutely insane, right? Super well supported. Their Hooper now gets his Unite move and catches all of us with his skills, which is, honestly, that was pretty pivotal. And now their team's looking very, very good, right? Unfortunately, our Gengar's actually, I think he's gone AFK or something like that, and it causes our team to pretty much lose a team fight there. So that's a little bit unfortunate for our team. So fast forwarding to like a minute before the raid here, and our team takes this Regieleki, and we're pretty much just wanting to, again, similar thing, blow as many of the enemy team's resources as possible, right? So that's what we're trying to do there. We're trying to get some Unites out. We're not trying to push this into their goal zone here, right? We're really not trying to do that, okay? I'm just making sure I'm with the team. We're trying to suffocate as much of their farm as possible. And that's pretty much what we're doing here, right? Our team's engaging on a big fight there. I'm just taking some farm through their mid, right? Just making sure that they're getting as minimal catch-up as possible here while maintaining safety. And our Dragapult just goes on an absolute tear, right? We try and get a little bit of score in there, but, obviously it's not going to happen. And now we're just looking to back out if we can, 30 seconds before the Ray. And as you can see, we're doing this without the help of the Gengar, right? Gengar's getting like 10 score in bottom, which is probably not that great. Like, he probably gets more experience by taking this blue buff and takes that away from the enemy as well. But, that's totally fine, because we're now in a position where we can do some stuff. 20 seconds for Ray. We're going to have to play it a little bit slow because Dragapult's coming back. And our healer's doing a fantastic job at keeping everyone alive. And pretty much this is the position here. You can see that our bottom goal zone is being warded. And I know that if our Clefable sticks with their Umbreon in the middle, they're going to be able to at least sustain enough time for our team to be able to come in. Our team being pretty much Dragapult, because he's carried at this point, right? What I'm looking to do here is I'm looking to make sure that they don't get any kind of catch up in top lane, right? Because if they score 50 points at the top goal, that's a lot of experience. That's like close to 800 experience, and I don't really want to give that up to the enemy team, right? So I make sure that I'm visible here, and it also maintains vision to see where their team's at, and it keeps me at a safe spot. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here, right? Now at this point, because our team's got such a huge lead, we don't need to touch this Rayquaza. We just need to make sure that we get the first kill in this team fight, and we're probably just going to be able to steamroll. So I've come in from this bottom side here. We've missed a bit of the action down here, right? But essentially our Umbreon and Clefable are, they were doing a pretty good job at, stalling the enemy. Our Umbreon was providing good vision and tanking a lot of hits. Our Dragapult was just cleaning up, right? He's on cleanup duty, doing some good stuff there. I see that their Charizard was trying to come into the mid. He's on like 0 health. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get him there, so I just run because I can see that they're trying to attack this Rayquaza here. And you can see my goal here is, I know that he's pretty much dead, so he's not going to be able to get into the game. Delphox is also dead, and Hooper is nowhere to be seen, right? So if we kill these two guys here, because the Ray is that low, the only person who's going to be able to steal the Rayquaza is this Hooper. And even if the Hooper steals the Rayquaza, these two people are going to be dead. The only two people with a shield is Hooper and Charizard. Even if they secure the Ray, we still probably win the game, because all we have to do is break the shield, and even if they score 200 points, we're still ahead. So we go in, we get 2 kills there, right? And at this point, I'm just looking to clean that up as quickly as possible, so that even if they did get the secure, there's only 2 people with the shield, and that way we're going to be able to defend that, right, against the enemy team. And so we get the secure, and the enemy team just forfeit, right? Right, and you can see the damage numbers. Honestly, it's actually a little bit embarrassing. But we played well early, and I kind of honestly just got filtered out by playing with our tank, and our Dragapult literally was just like making everyone in the game a bot, which is crazy, right? But guys, the main focus was the early game and how you invade. If you got some value from that, guys, much appreciate a thumbs up on the video. Have a very good one.